Welcome. We are live. Welcome, everyone. My name is Niki Lopez of Niki Lopez Creative, and you're watching The Circle, where every Tuesday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm talking to artists, activists, social entrepreneurs, people doing great things in the world today. And two, I have double the trouble, good trouble. So I have Donald Gunder and Damon Jones of Afro Pride Federation. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be on this platform. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. And so while we're live in a couple of places. So on Facebook, we're live in The Circle, the group, Niki Lopez Creative, as well as on YouTube and Periscope. And later on this week, then it will be uploaded on your favorite podcast to listen to. So just jumping right in. So both Donald and Damon are co-founders of Afro Pride Federation. Afro Pride's Federation mission focus on the solidarity, empowerment, and overall mental, physical, and social well-being of the people of color in the LGBTQ plus community and its subgroups and allies in South Florida. So I'm just so excited that you guys are doing this work. It's just like the moment I saw that little logo on Facebook, I was just like, everywhere. Jumping right in, because I know both of you have a different point of view, a different aspect that you kind of bring together. And Damon, you're a psychotherapist, and so I wanted to, if you could, kind of speak to us a little bit about like what is that and what drew you to that profession.
Definitely. Clinical psychotherapist. Basically, we assist individuals, groups, and families with any type of emotional or mental problems. Basically, is what a psychotherapist is. We're trained to actually implement those interventions to change behaviors and to address those different mental health problems. What drew me to this was to the profession, rather. I started off into sociology. And once I gained an understanding of more of societal problems and how things were developed and structured, I wanted to be a little bit more hands-on, because going into the field, there was a lot of macro work. There was a lot of research. There was a lot of evaluations, a lot of projects. And I felt like I would be more helpful if I was more hands-on in the community. So I went into clinical social work. And from clinical social work, there is when I went to grad school. I achieved my master's degree and licensed to practice. And basically, that was it. I wanted to be more hands-on. It was definitely because I had a different perspective. Basically, as when you're starting to get educated and going into these schools, you notice that there's certain Black cultural perspectives that are missing in some of the education, and so it's really needed. That cultural information is really needed to resolve a lot of the issues within our community. And I just think the experience that I have by reflecting the community and also being educated, just those two together can I feel like can make a really big impact as far as helping within the community and make a positive impact.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think that type of work is important?
Definitely it's important because it heals. It heals, it empowers, it educates, it saves lives, it changes behaviors to positive behaviors. These things are very important. There are many clients that I have. What's rewarding about it is there are many clients that come back and say, hey, you saved my life. Or, hey, I've stopped, abusing drugs now, and now I'm doing better. Or, these things or I changed my attitude on my behavior about certain things, or now I'm more educated about this subject, so now I'm acting different. These things changes lives. It heals. It really does. It does empowers the community, and I think that's very important for us to thrive and survive.
Yeah. And do you see what are some challenges? Because the norm or the stigma in Black community, there's Black community and then there's men, right? They're just so opposed to it. What are some of the challenges that you face with doing that type of work, especially being a Black man?
Well, I mean, just in general, definitely burnout. Sometimes being a psychotherapist, you run into different cases, let's say. And sometimes those cases could be very hard. Sometimes those cases could be substance abuse, which is a really difficult sometime in psychotherapy. Sometimes it could be suicidal. Sometimes it could be depression. So sometimes dealing with that on a daily basis
Mhm.
without the proper self care can lead you to burnout. So I think as a psychotherapist, I think many can agree you have to really work on that part. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, and that's again, as I kind of stated before, there's certain information I felt like through my education that was missing culturally when it
Mhm.
came to Black people, when it came to culture. And that information also goes into interventions and different resolutions for the community. And like I said, I didn't really see a lot of input coming from reflected from our community, coming from the community that I came from and grew up in. I didn't see that. And
Mhm.
I think it's important for, and the challenges came in because if they don't know it, they don't see it either. You understand what I mean? Because
Mhm.
if I say, hey, this doesn't happen like this in our community, they're like, what are you talking about? This is what the textbook says. You
Mhm.
know, so
Mhm.
that becomes a challenge because it's like we don't even know what you're talking about. You know,
Mhm.
so how can we put this? How can we come together and say, hey, this is real and this is what's happening, and I know this is was what we're educated on and what's wrote in the book. And I think that perspective. I think as a Black male, the challenge is kind of getting our perspective into these resolutions for our community. I
Mhm.
think that's definitely it.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And Donald, I know you do. You're what I saw you do more of the community work, and I wanted to know what was your start to that? Like, what draws you into doing community work in particular?
I started out just being an event planner and being more into the fashion at that particular time. I was working for Tommy Hilfiger, and the visual. I was a visual merchandise there, and I was dealing with a lot of the creativity of just the store events with Tommy Hilfiger and into the retail world, and then also event planning at the same time. And once I got more so in the community, my first event was the LGBT prom. I did an LGBT prom, and that all surfaced from just my experience that I saw that it just was a lack. It was just a lack in the community of a lot of events that I didn't see of those bigger events not in the community for our say people of color. And I started out with the LGBT prom. I thought it was different. It was significant. It went with the event planning that I was doing, and then I just brought it to life. Um, it grew by like 2 years, and I kept on continuing with it. From there, I developed a platform with the community with doing the promoting. Did a lot of promoting events and things like that, and going out at that time. I've always noticed certain venues that in people of color was quite different from the other clubs. So I just came in wanting to just create a whole new experience for our community. And through time, I worked on it for years. 2014 is where I started in 2021 out here. And this what got the community, this organization. I um, experienced a lot of backlash out there in the community as far as other groups. And so those times, those I felt those incidents gave me the drive to say, okay, it's time. It's time where we have this, we have that. It needs to be displayed in this way. And that's that's where I've been at since. That's what I've been given.
What are some of the challenges as well as some of the opportunities for doing like grassroots community organizing versus like if you were in corporate America or with a traditional nonprofit?
Um,
Coco.
Well, either
uh,
one. Yeah.
as far as like grassroots, once again, when we started and our focus is the overall wellness of the Black LGBT community in the South Florida area. So when you start off with grassroots, one of the things that you want to do is try to collaborate with organizations who have like similar focus and similar missions. And as we went out into, I guess, the organization world within our area, we didn't find a lot of Black LGBT organizations, Black led, Black focused. We didn't find a lot to collaborate with. So that was part of the challenge, kind of being not having a lot of people to collaborate with when it comes to that focus in Black led organizations. But there are some out there, definitely. There are some out there. We have found some. There are definitely a lot out there internationally as well, definitely, who has been helping. So I just want to definitely put that on the table. But that's just the challenges as well. And in economics, it's just like, you know, if you look at the rates, as far as the Black and brown community, the rates as far as just the disparities in mental health, substance abuse, HIV, AIDS, you see that Black and brown people and LGBT are on the top of the list. But then when it comes to, and that list, sometimes it fluctuates, but it kind of remains the same. So it questions, it's like, where's the help coming from? Where's the money coming from? Where's the economic part of it also, where we want to understand, you know, how to be able to transform relationships so we'll be able to help out our community economically as well, because there's a gap there as well. So that the challenges is economic challenges, and also kind of finding collaborations and transforming relationships to be able to work with an organization that is Black led and Black focused.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that definitely drew me, because I've worked with and worked, volunteered, whatever have you, been a part of so many different great initiatives. And particularly in South Florida, you don't see a lot of people of them that are, you know, focused on Black people, people of color, or, you know, you go to spaces and we're minorities, you know. Then when you tack on I'm a females, is even more of a minority, because you go to LGBT spaces and you're like, okay, white male dominated, you know. And so I think this what makes, you know, what you all do extra special and extra needed, especially in South Florida.
Yes.
So for people who are not familiar with Afro, with Afro Pride Federation, how do you explain it to them?
Okay, well, Afro Pride Federation, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's based in Broward County. And our mission focuses on the overall wellness of the Black and brown LGBT community. We show that through overall support, wellness support, through our programs and services, which includes mental health, substance abuse services, HIV prevention and education. We have a cultural arts program. Also, our community collaboration will be happening February 18th. Our community, and for community solidarity and cultural solidarity. So we have different programs here. We have different programs, kind of like a holistic approach, where we have different programs and different collaborations, where we're trying to have a holistic approach where we'll be able to impact mental health, substance abuse, as well as linkage to other needs, as far as healthcare, psychiatric, testing. We have collaborated with Trans Inclusive and Amphius of Broward County Mental Health. With us collaborated together, we're able to make a bigger impact on services. So basically, that's what we are. We're a 501c nonprofit organization who focuses on the overall wellness of the Black and brown community in the South Florida area, and we do have programs, culturally informed programs, and services. Our board reflects the community. We made sure that was very important. Our board is of the community. It reflects the definitely community. We definitely have and was educated in the community as well. So that was very important for us when we were founding this. So definitely that's been a big help. But we just wanted to make sure that this was a platform for Black and brown folk that focuses on Black and brown LGBT population. The high rates of mental health, substance abuse, especially during COVID time, and the economic disparities all at the same time, it just raised a real heightened need for the community. And that's kind of what sparked us to kind of like, let's get this started, because we have been working in the community before the organization for many years. Me as a psychotherapist on a more individual basis, and him in the community. He's a community organizer. So, you know, when the need came up, we kind of sat down and was like, you know, we can't do this by ourselves. You know, we're going to need a community. And so this is how it was founded.
Yeah. Okay. And you know, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I was going to ask that because you all started this last year, like in the middle of the pandemic. You know, what could you kind of expand a little bit on, like, what was the sense of urgency? Because some people that, you know, they're like, well, we're waiting for everything to get back normal before we start an idea, and you guys just jumped in. Like, what was the urgency for you?
Well, we kind of started it. We was getting it prepared already earlier that year, and then right when we were getting everything done, we was getting everything processed, and then boom, it was March hit, and it got, you know, as of January at the time, the president was saying that, oh, it was going to be, you know, in January that this was nothing. You understand? And things like that. So from there, we just continued, and we couldn't stop as far as understanding that the pandemic was going on. We had to we just continue in our own way in short goals.
Well, what did it for me was definitely just the highlight and disparities. Every day on the news, you see the COVID disproportionately affected the Black population, disproportionately affects in all these different disparity areas. So it was the major highlight of the COVID on our community, which definitely sparked the urgent need. And then also the representation, you know, just the representation of the community and people that reflect the community in spaces that are making decisions. We didn't notice that, you know, as well. So that just sparked the urgency. It was the urgency that, you know, our needs were highlighted. The needs of the community were highlighted at the time of COVID. And as far as representation, it was very little representation for the community, I felt. And so that sparked a need for the organization. Just around that time, it was like the highlight definitely was like, wow, this is really needed. Definitely community, yes.
Absolutely. What are some of the focuses or services that the Afro Pride Federation delivers?
Okay, right now we have mental health and substance abuse services. It's individual and group therapy. Once again, for more information, you can always go to our website at afroprideflorida.org, or you can email us at info@afroprideflorida.org. But definitely mental health and substance abuse. We have individual therapy. We have group therapy. Definitely therapy for co-occurring disorders, meaning HIV and another mental disorder. Those are specializations, especially substance abuse. We also have trans services for the trans community. There are different services within our trans community as far as HIV testing, support groups. Please go to our website for trans services as well. Also, our community collaboration, which we're growing now. We'll have a community collaboration monthly, and we will be inviting community members to assess, to empower, to educate, to analyze, to critically analyze, you know, the needs of our community and how to come up with resolutions. So we are going to have that to kind of help us out with cultural solidarity. We also have a cultural arts. I'm going to let you go ahead and take it from here.
Yeah, we have a cultural arts services that we give at the department, and I created this. It's called the Afro Pride Collective. It's a collective of different individuals in the community of different arts. There's a whole mixture from males. You have the lesbian community, you have the trans community. Specifically, we have dancers, we have musicians, we have artists like the actual a painter and singers. And from there, we're going to create events in the community that's going to make an impact off of what we are doing and what's going on right now. Those things will be the projects will be based on social justice, discrimination, everything on that line there. Our title this year is just rise up, and most of our projects will reflect of what the Rise Up means.
Mm-hmm.
And our overall and our big performance this year will be the Afro Pride, which hopefully, based off of what's going on now, hopefully by October we'll be able to do the big Pride itself, and that's when our big project will actually be displayed. And also we're creating a marching band, and yes, it will reflect almost HBCU style. So it could be community based, LGBTQ and allies as well. So we are working on that, and that's definitely a highlight for the parade and music fest, the Afro Pride, later on this year. There's a lot of groundwork for that one, but we get it together.
Right.
Oh, also we do also have a Mr. and Mrs. Afro Pride as well. We haven't presented it to the community yet because we we chose. It took us time to choose the right people. And then once they're going to reign for a year, we'll actually have it for to actually crown the new Mrs. and Mr. and Mrs. For from the upcoming year. So that also goes with the culture side, and basically the Afro Pride, Mr. and Mrs. They would be they're like role models in the community, and also to work things on hands as far as the volunteer and doing community service as well in the community. That gives a platform to other individuals as our we have a lot of performers out there. We have a lot of artists. We have a lot of leaders in the community, and most times the pageants are able to display their talents in that way, and also as well.
Right. So we have a lot of volunteering opportunities out there with our cultural arts program, just to add that in. And from the mental health perspective, definitely there's representation needed within the community. I didn't see a lot of our cultural arts kind of reflected in a lot of the pride parades within the community. Just a lot of different things. So I think, and the cultural arts perspective that we're touching are cultural norms within our community, as far as like the Afro Pride marching band. We have thousands and thousands of people who come from HBCUs to see that, but you never see that in like that style of marching band within, the main prides and the main festivals. We're trying to just add that, that cultural norm, to to the and also mentally it does. As a therapist, one of the things you want to do is try to send people out to places socially, to have, because the social wellness is very important as well. And if you don't have that place, as you well know, to kind of express these different type of things, it could be a negative impact. Let's say that. So just to have a space for our community to be able to express and share in these cultural norms, and provide that platform is the mental part of it is what it is to me.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel I will definitely relate to why an organization like yours is important in our community. But what would you say for some people who might say, well, there is a pride. Why don't you just join that pride? What's the significance? What's the importance for the community, the LGBT community and the Black LGBT community? What's the significance of having something like this when there already is a pride organization and different things like that?
I feel our community is underrepresented. They're underrepresented with when it comes to those prides. There are not a lot of people of color in those prides. They're not displayed as we're not displayed on a lot of the flyers, a lot of the programs, a lot of the events. And I saw that through years. So the purpose of it being set up in the way that it's being set up from the lack that it is there. And it's not to say that that there's a big problem that we don't want to do that. It's just that there's going to be a safer and a space for our people to feel comfortable, and just to let the community know that there is a bigger platform for them.
Right.
So,
and it's not just it's for our allies as well.
It
want
is.
to
Absolutely.
We're not singling anybody out. Through time, we have good hosts. We have great performers. We have great artists. There, even in South Florida here alone, once we do start doing things, they would see that there are major like LGBT artists on so many different levels that has music out, that has talent, that's been on TV. That we have. Sometimes we talk to certain people, in other cultures, they not even aware of the events that we have, or even the clubs. They be shocked, like, oh, I didn't know, they never even heard of. It's been around for almost 20 years now. So we are here, and this is what we do have, and we are definitely looking to come together, because we are now partnering with other prides to be part of their prides. But as far as Afro Pride, this is us, and this is this is what we do, and this is what we're developing for a comfortable space for our people of color to display their talents, because I feel, again, we're underrepresented. We're so many different ways.
Space for shared cultural norms, self-love, and for everybody to come and join. Fort Lauderdale Pride, I just wanted to send them a shout out, because they reached out and definitely was like, oh my God, there's a Afro Pride, and we haven't seen one, and we're excited to see one, and just let us know. So there are people are showing interest in the Pride, and oh yes, and also the Flock Fest definitely too, where someone who was like, hey, we want to be able to join in and as I said, transform relationships, and that's what we're doing now as far as the collaboration, transforming relationships. And one of the hashtags that I like is add color and not shade.
Yeah. And I love when you talk about when you mention about the flyers, because that's something I'm extremely keen on, and I've been in different spaces when people are talking about how do we have diversity and inclusion, or I have a party going on, but everybody's not coming to the party, because that, I guess that's part of my graphic design brain too, and that's just diversity and always being the sore thumb in a sea of white or light faces, and it's just like, look at your flyer. So if you have a flyer, that's something, people talk about diversity and inclusion and all these things. And then the flyer, you have this, one type of people, one type of look, one type of body shape, one type of hair texture. That's why you start there with your branding, with your design, with your photos. You got 10 people in the photos. You didn't know anybody black, like something, nobody had another hairstyle.
Most time the DJ, the music, the host, all that plays a part.
Absolutely. How can people support Afro Pride Federation and get involved with Afro Pride Federation?
Volunteer. Definitely volunteer. Volunteer. Coming out to our events, or hitting us up in our inbox, emailing us, letting us know how you can benefit, how can you help.
That's it. Volunteer participation, donations, definitely. Always go to like I said, afroprideflorida.org. There you can find all of our information. You'll be able to there's information for you to participate, volunteer, and also donate as well to the organization cause. But that is definitely way. And when you see Afro Pride, it's love, and come join us in the celebration of self-love. It really is.
How did you both started working with each other? Like, is this your first project together? Have you done other projects together?
We definitely, we've done other projects together. We're from the same place. We're from the same place, same community, and we did a tribute to legends for the community, and it was basically about the community. We realized that the community members that were stars in our community wasn't being noticed on a bigger platform, so we decided to build that platform. This was before Afro Pride, and we had a big what was called a tribute to the legends, where we had members of the trans community, the lesbian community, the gay community, where we did a community assessment as well to see who would they think would be the best representative, or who's the star and why. And so we've been, and that was, what year was that?
2017.
Okay, that was 2017, so that wasn't that far ago. But we've been doing things like that for the community. So this is something that's in us. It's our passion. It really is. There was no funding behind that. There was no help behind that. This was something that we got up and did for our community. It came right out of our pockets and did it.
Even when I started out with LGBT proms, the first 2 I did, it was never, it was just never out the pocket. I mean, it was out of my pocket, never from, any donations, no funding, no grants, no, just from scratch, just to give a platform, just something new to the community.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just want to give a little acknowledgement. We have Yasmin saying, absolutely, so true. The flyers mean a lot. Inclusion. Absolutely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just so glad to hear other people saying it, because I sometimes feel like a broken stick record. Like, look at it right there.
Exactly.
I think I'm definitely to the point where, even especially when it comes to nonprofits and organizations that, like to talk about diversity and inclusion, and I see a group photo and it's only white people or only light-skinned, fair-skinned people, I'm just like, what's up with that? Because, you're not even being conscious of the things that you post. You post diversity and inclusion, but then you have a group picture and everybody looks the same. You're not even being intentional about just that, like making sure, you have as much representation. I mean, you can't, maybe in every situation may not apply, but it's just like, it's too much where people are not thinking of all those things in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that may fall into the leadership role. If we have more people that reflect the community and that leadership, the people that are making decisions, I think that would help too, as far as the flyers and just noticing that difference. Definitely, because what we've noticed is what our community calls blackface, where they'll find a black person and stick them here and say, hey, this is diversity and inclusion, and and that works as a picture for a lot of people. But from the community perspective, it's like, we know that's just a black face, and it doesn't include everything about our community. So we've come across that, what we call black face, where they'll just use black face and say, hey, this is diversity and inclusion, here's a black face. And no input from the community, no reflection of it.
Half of the time it's really not a person that's actually in the community, because half the time someone will be like, who half of the community would be like, who is that? And so there has to be a what do you call it, this social norm, like cultural norm, that's familiar with the community, who we all can relate to. And not to say that there wouldn't be support, but that goes to back to that word again, like the blackface, because that doesn't always solidify the inclusion. It doesn't always.
It's not authentic.
It's not just authentic. We have to do the proper research to whatever, and sometimes it look like it just be like, oh, hey, let me, we need you over here. But it takes the whole community. It takes the whole community, and it takes understanding to know who to represent the community.
Yeah, I came across an article where it talked about tokenism in the nonprofit sector in particular. And it's just like reading that, it's just like, ooh, ouch, ooh, because I could definitely remember sometimes I was like,
they be right on point.
Yeah.
Yes, be right on point. And you experience, while reading it, sometimes you actually be going through and experiencing it. When you those different articles that's out there like that, you come across those experiences. You come across experience at times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So and you have an event coming up soon. This Thursday, well, a virtual chat.
Yes.
So you have things coming up. Okay.
Yes.
And so so I posted on here, and I'm going to put it in the group. So we got some people listening, but I guess it's just like they're soaking it up. But I do appreciate the comment that we have. I'm going to put in the comments how people can connect to you. It's already in the actual post, but I'll put it up there anyway. Do you because you speak a lot about like mental health and well-being. You have a lot of stuff going on. How do you each balance your work and mental health? Do you have like any self-care practice, anything that you do personally to balance that for yourself?
Well, as far as for me, I know in grad school, one of the things that they taught us in being a psychotherapist is self care. Like it's a mandatory because of the different cases you're going to come across. So early on, self care is definitely there. There are times where I like to. There's times where I like the gym. You know, the gym cardio is my space where I can just kind of riding in a car for a period of time in the gym cardio. That is my mental space. That is my self care. But you know, self care can be a lot of different things. But that's kind of what Some people do meditation, some people do different things, but that's what kind of centers me.
Some of what he said is the same for me. The self care. I work out as well, and most of the times when I'm there and start meditating, that's what I do as well. And definitely, I also play the violin, and I do that's a big comfort zone for me. And I just pick it up and just go.
Oh man, that's awesome. I always love the violin.
Those areas, definitely.
We have Grecia from Feminine Africa. Thank you, Nikki, for tonight's chat. Excellent guest. Happy Afro Pride.
Thank you.
Yes. If you had access to a time machine, where would you go and why? The past or the future?
Well, for me, I would go in the past. I would go in the past because I relate to a lot of things in the past, and I feel also I learned from meditation and on the spiritual aspect of a lot of things that I feel that I can go back and correct, not just in my life, just with things that went on back in the past with ancestry and things like that. I would love to travel back at that.
Yeah. I mean, if I can keep the knowledge I have now and go back, oh, definitely.
Yeah, you can keep that. Yeah.
If I can keep the knowledge and go back, I would definitely go back. I think I would be able to make a bigger impact on a lot of different things in the world, in my life. Definitely.
Absolutely. And we have Yasmin saying, I love what you're doing. Keep pushing. So many people need support. It's so hard to find, especially those that seek family.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. And especially within the LGBT community, because a lot of times we have to select chosen families, because you have a lot of people, especially, coming from a Black household where it's even more that, they would get isolated, shunned, kicked out, because of who they are and who they love and who they choose to be.
Definitely. It is very important. And that's why creating social spaces also, because sometimes as a psychotherapist, if someone comes to you and telling you they're being abused in their home by their family, it's hard to say, well, go back there. You kind of want to push people in spaces where they are empowered, where they are loved, where they are, so those spaces like the ballroom scene to me helps. Definitely. Yeah. They create families within the ballroom scene. A lot of people, well, you could speak more on that,
Yeah, in the ballroom scene, you have families that created. There's a mother, there's a father, and a lot of times there are people in the community that get strung away from their family, and they meet role models there. They meet actual brother, the sister, and it's just ongoing love. And most times the other houses I'm also in a house of Gordon. We get together a lot, just celebrate at times, just get together, talk, help each other on things. Yeah, there's some people that proud and don't have things, looking for a job, and there's always major support there. The platform there is a huge platform. It's a huge family, and it's definitely needed in the community as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, what were you saying?
No, that's
Okay. I see Valerie. Yes, whatever makes you feel centered. Wow, me too. Used to play, the violin. I didn't know that. Yeah. So, yeah, I love the violin. I love how it sounds. There's this girl that sometimes when you're a kid, you don't have you don't have who you're around, you don't have any control over that. But there was this girl that I came across that we became friends, and she played the violin. She started teaching me a couple little songs, but this so many years ago. But I never touched it, again, but I always love hearing it. So I hope I get to hear you play one of these days.
You would.
Awesome. So, I think we're wrapping up here. Let me check. Okay, there's no more comments. So, yeah, Valerie, it's fine that you're late. You could always go back and watch this. The circle is always going to be on YouTube. It's always going to be on Facebook under Niki Lopez Creative, and it's always going to be on, your favorite podcast. So Spotify, iTunes, the Google podcast is going to be there for you to listen to. But thank you for joining us. So, any final words while we're wrapping up tonight?
No, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for having us on your platform.
Yes,
we are so honored. We really, really appreciate it. Especially coming out as a grassroots organization. This type of spotlight is definitely something that is going to boost us, and we really appreciate that. Also, more information, you can always go to afroprideflorida.org. You can email us at info@afroprideflorida.org. Like I said, we need, as you spoke, violin players. We have a cultural arts department, and we are going to need people. So please email us. Let us know if you play an instrument, if you're interested in becoming part of the collective. Also, if you have any issues as far as concerns, as far as linkage, mental health care, substance abuse, trans services, psychiatric services, you can also email us as well. We will be having a community collaborative on Thursday. Is that correct?
Thursday,
from 7:30 to 8 o'clock. So please log on, go to our Facebook like page. We also have an Instagram, which should be in the chat, or the links are posted. And that's it. Thank you. We appreciate it. We are a new organization. We are looking forward to collaborating, definitely, and transforming relationships. And we just want to say thank you. And we are here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we have Yasmin, enjoyed the circle tonight. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed and tuned in. Absolutely. And Valerie, greetings to your guests.
Hello.
Absolutely. So yeah, it was definitely a pleasure. I know Dot and I, ever since I've seen it, then we kind of got connected on Facebook, and we kind of like, well, I want to join the circle. So it's just, I'm really happy that I was able to get you all in. I don't, like everybody, I try to have like little focuses here and there. So like February is Black History Month, even though many of us know Black history is 365. But, I'm glad to have, have your organization showcased in the month of February, because it's Black history, and again, because of some of the stigmas in the Black community, a lot of times LGBT issues and people and heroes are also kind of ignored during Black history. So I think it's I'm just really honored to share the platform and share what you guys are doing and up to. And I just wish you all the best. I'm looking forward to Thursday's conversation. And those who may not know, I will be one of the people on there, which it just happened by chance because we've been talking about being on the circle. So just so you know, it was totally by chance. But
yes.
definitely love that you all are here today. Thank you so much for being here and sharing what you're up to, and just being that, especially in times like this, mental health is really important. And especially during times like these where people are home isolated and, don't have the resources that they normally would have when it was pre-COVID. So I think it's really important, the work you're doing. And I love that it's just like social and mental and arts and all these other layers just, combine into one organization. That's really powerful. So
Appreciate it.
absolutely. And so I posted up the links for Afro Pride Federation. Please go and follow them. Thank you for all who are here watching live. Thank you for all who's going to watch it on the replay. Please, if you are listening, you enjoyed it, please consider sharing this on your spaces, your social spaces. You could share it on YouTube. You could share it on Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere you have. Please share it out. Someone wants to hear this information and be inspired to join and contribute to what's going on. The Circle is brought to you by Niki Lopez Creative and What's Your Elephant. What's Your Elephant is an organization that uses the arts to create a safe space to talk about anything unspoken. So if you want more information on what some of the work that I do, you could go to what'syourelephant.org. You could also go to Linktree, Niki Lopez 19 for more information. So this is the end of the episode. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. And I will see you all next week.
Next week?
Yes.